In this session, I thought we would look at producing box joints in Fusion. To produce a box joint in Fusion, there are a couple of add-ins that we can download, both of which are free add-ins, which makes them all the more appealing. The first one we'll look at is the box joint add-in here. And this box joint add-in allows you to create a box joint between butted sides, but it won't do overlap. Whereas the second one here, called finger joint, this one allows us to do a box joint on overlapping parts but not on butt parts. So the first one we'll look at is the butt part one, which is the box joint. And if we click on that one to bring it up, we then have this. Let's bring this up, our sample. We then have this situation here, and in the joint we have several options. We can select the faces, the minimum number of fingers or maximum number of fingers, so it's an automatic thing, the finger width and the maximum finger width, and the ratio of the finger to notches, the margin and the tool diameter that I'll come on to. Now if we select our two faces, nothing appears to happen, because what we've told it to do is to do 3 fingers minimum at 25 millimeters, which would give us 75 millimeters. Our material is only 60 millimeters wide. So let's first of all change this finger width down to 5 millimeters, and then we can see them coming in. Now you might wonder what these curved pieces are. Well, that's because we put a tool diameter. This is essentially for CNC type work. On lasers we don't need it, so the tool diameter can be taken down to 0. And then we can see our box joints there are quite clearly and quite well marked. The margin diameter is the margin size, sorry, is the size from the top to the bottom, or from the bottom there to the start of the first notch. So if we were to make that, let's say 10 millimeters, then you can see immediately we have a 10 millimeter gap margin, both top and bottom, before the fingers start. Leaving at 0, we don't get any margin. The tool diameter we mentioned, we're not going to need that at all on laser printing, or laser cutting rather, so that's okay to leave at that one. And that basically is our box joint. It's to do 2 pieces which are butt jointed together. So we'll stop on that one, and then we'll move on to the next one. Now we'll look at the other option, which is our finger joint. Now the finger joint can only be used on overlapping edges, not butt joints. So here we have 2 sides which are overlapping, and we'll open up the finger joint. Now we can see there's a few more bits and pieces to this one. This time we would select the first body, so we'll select the green one. Secondly, then we'll select the second body, which is, say, the red one, and then we have to select the direction of travel of the fingers, which is direction of the joint. So that is basically clicking one of these for the direction, and there we can see we've got 1 finger put in because that's at 1. Let's change that to 5 fingers, and there we have 5 fingers. Now up here we can change the fingers to be on the outside. You can see there on the body one, which is the main body, the fingers now on the outside. On that one, they're on the inside. And on that one, we start with a finger and end with a notch. So there you can see us starting with a finger and ending with a notch. And then that one there is the opposite way round, of starting with a notch and finishing with a finger. The number can either be fixed or dynamic. I think fixed is what we would normally use. The number of fingers that we got in, and then the fixed notice, the fixed notch size, sorry, and a fixed finger size, or a fixed notch and finger size. So normally we would choose that one so our notches and fingers are the same size. There's two other things on here to look at, is gap between fingers and the gap to part. Now I'll put in a gap between fingers and I'll exaggerate it a bit so you can see what's happened. So you can see that's created a space between the fingers. That might be useful if with no space in there you find that let's change that back to naught a moment. If you find that there's not enough clearance after you've laser cut them, then you can create that gap which give you that tolerance for laser cutting. And the same with the gap to part. Now the gap to part is slightly different. I'll put an exaggerated one in, and this one is the gap between the fingers on this one body and the start of the other one. So if we scroll, you can see there, that's the gap to part. Again, generally on laser you're not likely to want either of those two. So that's our finger joint. The finger joint, to recap, is purely for two pieces that have been overlapped. Now I'll just very quickly show you the third one that I found, which I can't see as having any need for at all. And the third one actually cost $7, £5 it was. And that's on Create, and it ends up down here, wood joints. And what it does, it generates a box for you straight away. And then you've got all these adjustments down here. You can adjust the height and width of the box, etc., but you end up with a box nonetheless. I'm not able to get rid of this knob. You can move the knob up and down, left and right, but you can see it's ideal for drawers and boxes if you're into woodwork. I don't think it's going to be the sort of thing we would want to use. You might find a use for it. You can offset the base up here somewhere. Where is it? You've got the height and depth, the thickness of the material, the number of teeth, and the dovetail details down here. If it's useful, it could be worth playing around with. It's only £5, but to be honest with you, I can't see any real use for that one. Right, let's go back to where we were on our, lost them, where are they? Right, what I want to go on to now is a box. A quick way of doing the box. Now, when the two pieces I just shown you, they were a sketch of two sides that we extruded up to create the sides. Now, this might be a little tip in Fusion, because you can draw a box in that way by just doing your sketch, extruding your sides and so forth. Or you can do a box using the Create command and come down and hit box and choose the plane. We can then draw a box in. Let's make the box, let's say 50 by 100. Okay, we'll press enter and then we get the command to extrude it. So let's take it up 60 millimeters. So there's our box. Now we can hollow that box out with the shell command. So it's the shell command and hit the top of the box. And let's suppose we're working with 3mm ply. So we'll type in 3 and there's our box. Nice easy box to do. Come up here and we want select faces. Face and a face. And we'll take that back down to 5. Unfortunately it defaults to 25 all the time. But nothing happens. And the reason nothing happens, remember what I said about the box joint. The box joint only works with sides or edges that are butted together. So we can't use that one. So we come down then to the finger joint one. And the finger joint one selects first body and second body, which we can't do because our box is one complete body. So what we have to do is split the box up. And the easiest way of splitting the box up is to go construct, offset plane, and you can create an offset plane. But there's a quicker way than that. And that is to go up here to the split body, click it, let's pull this over so you can see it. So we're going to see body to split there, and then splitting tool, we're going to use that actual inside edge there. Okay, you can see now we've created that edge. Now if we do the same thing body and do the same thing with the other side there, whoops, sorry, select body, wrong one, select body, select edge, and you can see the splitting plane come in, and now we've got our 4 bodies. Now what we can do is that if I just go back, because the order you do this is important, because ideally I want the bases being separate now, but I want it butted up, and it's not, it's right, it's across these end twos here. So the answer now is to go into split body, pick up that one, and then select that face and do OK, and we now have the 4 sides. So if I switch them off, you have the one side, we have the other side, we have a base, and then we got the side and the side. So we got all 4 sides, and they're butt jointed. So now we can come up to our box joint one, which is that one, and again it's annoying and it keeps coming up with 5. We'll put it down to 5, and we'll just say 5 on each edge. So we select that edge and that edge. Let's take the tool diameter back down to 0 because we're doing laser. And then we can just select that one. And then we can just select that one. And then we can just select the bottom one. And there's our finished box as it is. And just to show, if we use our move tool and select that body, we can pull it out. So I'll stop there for a few moments for questions before I go on then how to get this into Lightburn or whatever other laser control program you're using.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if the wall thicknesses have to be the same on all the bodies.
On all sides?
On all sides, yeah.
I haven't tried that yet, Gary. I suppose the easiest way of trying that is to undo our joints.
I was just saying you make the base 10 millimeters thick instead of whatever it is, 3 or something.
Yeah. But so what we'll do is if we do the side then, because it's a bit easier to get at for me.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's going to be a butt joint. So let's just increase that one. Let's say by another 5 millimeters. Okay. All right, hang on a minute. Shouldn't have done join, should I? Let's just move that one out the way a minute so we get it right. Where are we? Select that one. Oh no, that one. Free move. I just want to make sure that we're not interfering with everything else, and we'll increase it by 5. And then we'll drag it back in again. So what we want to do is select that body, and we'll go from point to point, take that point back to that point and put it back in again. Okay. So then if we go now into our box joint and we select that face and that face, take that back down to 5 mil. That's the only pain with this one. It doesn't save your settings. And that seems to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just move it back out again to sort of. Yeah. Happy with that, Gary?
Fine. Yeah, no, it's fine.
I think what I've seen here is a nice simple way of doing box joints. Of the 2 applications, it depends what you're doing. I think if you're doing a straightforward box of this nature, then this one is probably the easiest to use or the quickest to use. The other one, which is the finger joint, you have a bit more variation. But I question, will you ever want to decide to start on fingers or whatever? You know, probably not. This has got more variation in it, but I'm not sure it's needed, to be honest. So But the links, I will put the links, and I've already downloaded all the apps I'm talking about tonight. I've zipped them all up and I've put them on my 3D site for you to download the zip file with the apps all in there anyway.